Sandwiched between Green Day's most disliked albums, their 2016 record, Revolution Radio, is blatantly overlooked. But whether you love or hate this album, it's often cited as a brief return to form before they dropped Father of All 4 years later. Come after me in the comments if you like, but I think this album is very underrated. At least in the small Green Day YouTuber community I'm in, it's pretty hated. Put your thoughts in the comments and do me a favor and subscribe or you like this guy. Thank you. Revolution Radio was self-produced by the band, which many people say is the reason why they don't care for the album. Because the mix is very dynamic, which makes it difficult to hear certain parts in the songs, such as the bass. And yeah, I can definitely hear it, so it makes the listening experience unpleasant to some. But if they remixed it, the volume levels would be more consistent, thus the album would be better. Revolution Radio was recorded from 2015 through 2016 at the band's personal studio, Otis, in Oakland, California, and was released on October 7th, 2016, being preceded by 3 singles: Bang Bang on August 11th, the title track Revolution Radio on September 9th, and Still Breathing on September 23rd. Singer and guitarist Billie Joe Armstrong had said that in retrospect he acknowledged that their previous trilogy of albums didn't have much of a direction. So with Revolution Radio, he aimed for a more conceptual record. And although Revolution Radio isn't a concept album like American Idiot or 21st Century Breakdown, it does have a pretty strong underlying theme throughout. At its release, it sold 95,000 copies in its first week, along with going #1 on the Billboard 200. Also debuting in #1 in the UK, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, and Italy. Now let's try to cover the individual songs. The album opens with Somewhere Now, the line, "I'm running late to somewhere now that I don't want to be," being the first lyric you hear. Singer Billie Joe Armstrong spoke positively about these lyrics in an interview with Rolling Stone, saying those were his favorite lyrics at the beginning of a record that they've ever done. It's so relatable, whether it's going to your job or going to the dentist. The line, "How did life on the wild side ever get so dull?" referring to when Billie Joe had gotten out of rehab a while before. And he had said the line was about, quote, "how to deal with dealing with yourself." Before it was, "I'll have a beer." Now it's, "I have to breathe a little bit more. And I've never been good at boredom. I never know what to do when it's like you and you're alone with yourself." End quote. And there's a lot about protest on this album, as you'll see. The line, "I put the riot in patriot," calling back to Billie Joe's experience with peaceful protests, that being the subject that inspired him to write the album's next song, Bang Bang. Both this song and Forever Now have a very Who-esque sound about them, which isn't surprising to hardcore Green Day fans, because before, Green Day had been very vocal about their collective love for The Who. Billie had said he was inspired to write this song after he noticed a protest march in New York before going out to walk with them. The song is sung from the perspective of a mass shooter, an issue that is still running rampant all over the world. The song opens with short excerpts from the news reporting on the topic, which does a great job setting up the fact that some killers and mass shooters only commit their crimes to have their names on the headlines, which is horribly messed up. The line, "I'm sweating bullets like a modern Romeo," alluding to the anxiety and adrenaline rush that some shooters get before they kill. And the Modern Romeo line, referring to the Romeo and Juliet modern film adaptation, where instead of swords, they used guns. Crazy, you know. I would love to make a video completely dedicated to this song because there are so many layers and references in the lyrics, it's pretty insane. The opening line is a direct reference to a Black Lives Matter protest that Billie Joe walked in, the one I mentioned earlier that happened in New York. Billie said, "I was screaming, 'Hands up, don't shoot,' and I felt like I was on the right side of history." This song, while being the title track, is often forgotten by me. I don't know why, but you know. And it's by no means a bad song, though the anthemic qualities are kinda underwhelming because it comes on just after the best song on the album, in my opinion. Surprisingly, a lot of you guys wanted a video on this specific song, so here we go. I hope this is enough. It begins with the line, "Say goodbye to the ones that you love," then in the verses breaks into some social commentary, which is pretty standard as far as Green Day songs go. once again holding up a mirror to the division and violence within America. It's pretty standard Green Day lyrical content, but the guitars on the song are some of my favorite on the album, especially the end breakdown. Those guitars seriously go hard. All in all, an underrated track, probably the most underrated on the album. Some of you guys may not agree, but I really like the vibe of this song. Though the production is kind of choppy, it gets lost in the rest of the album and deserves more attention. I like how restrained the verses are, only bringing in heavy guitars as the chorus hits, making what most songwriters consider the pivotal moment in the song, the chorus, hit even harder. Then in the outro, we get some piano and softer vocals, concluding the song in a more reserved way than the rest of the tracks on Revolution Radio. This song is pretty underrated. Just like with Say Goodbye, a lot of people kind of forget this song exists, and it doesn't mean it's bad at all. Bouncing Off the Wall is a fun song, which it should be because the core idea of bouncing off the wall is centered around being excited and energetic. Other than that, there's really not much to say about this song besides it's a fun time. This was the last song to be released as a single from the album, and lyrically was described by Armstrong as a song about being a survivor and overcoming adversity. This song is interesting because it wasn't written entirely by Billie Joe, as you can see in the credits. Another thing that is super interesting was that this song was apparently written for 5 Seconds of Summer, but Billie Joe changed his mind, saying that the song was lyrically too intense, which, hey, I'm not a Five Sauce fan, but maybe he was right. In fact, he said this in an interview with People magazine. There's a band called 5 Seconds of Summer that wanted me to write a song for them. All of a sudden, I was writing the lyrics, and I was like, OMG, there's no effing way I'm giving these guys this song. There's all those lyrics where it's like the last moment of someone's life. It's so intense. It's just a song about being a survivor. The song's inclusion on the album is also further justified because around this time, the wife of bassist Mike Dirnt was battling cancer, and Billie and Trey were there to support Mike through the tough times. There's speculation that this song was written for Green Day's stolen album, Cigarettes and Valentines. But if you want to learn more about that, then check out the video essay I made on Cigarettes and Valentines. Link in the description. This song was in fact written about Billie's wife, which, let's be real, anymore is no surprise because he's written so many songs about her. I'm curious about y'all's thoughts on this song because it seems like it's the most disliked song on the album. This song is fairly autobiographical as far as the verses, but can be applied to anyone who has dreams that seem unattainable. The lyrics on this track are pretty deep, with a lot of metaphors and meanings that I would love to cover in this video, but it would end up being way too long. So for that reason, I'm going to save it for another video. This is so much about social commentary that there's basically nothing else to say. It's very black and white and talking about the state of the US, and sadly the song is still lyrically relevant to the state of the US today. But on the surface, I really think this song is underrated. Most people don't talk about how strong the song is, but you know, it's one of the best on the album. This song is probably the most theatrical song on the record. It's made up of 3 parts. Part 1 is titled I'm Freaking Out. 2 is A Better Way to Die, and the final part is called Somewhere Now, Reprise, which was supposed to serve as the closer to the album, but as you'll see, this isn't the case. I think this would have been perfect to close the album because with Somewhere Now being the opener and the final part being a reuse of the same song, it would have been so fitting. But instead, we got this next song. Ordinary World was written, and Billie Joe had said that he'd kind of put it aside. It wasn't supposed to be on the album. Until this movie got made, and for anyone who watched it, they'll know that it really wasn't that great of a movie. And the movie was originally going to be titled Geezer, but instead they changed it to Ordinary World because Billie had written this song, which they wanted to include on the movie. I really don't recommend the watch of the movie. If you're a diehard Green Day fan, maybe watch it. But other than that, it's really just stereotypical kind of a movie. Nothing great really stands out. Also interesting to note that there was another alternate version of Ordinary World that made it to Green Day's Greatest Hits album. It featured country singer Miranda Lambert. Which, let me know if y'all guys like that version of the song. I'm gonna close out with my thoughts. So, here's my final thoughts on the album. As up and down as the production is, this album should be looked upon better by a lot of fans because, come on, if they maybe remixed it, it would be just as good as all of their other albums. Where does this album fall in y'all's Green Day album rankings? And that's it from me. If you liked the video, please like the video, share, comment, hit the bell, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you or not see you in the next one. Adios.